Hi there. In this video, we're going to talk about similar figures. And similar figures are the same shape but different size. Okay? I like to think of a toy car and an actual car. They're the same shape, they're just different sizes. Okay? And one thing that we know about similar figures is that corresponding angles are congruent. Okay? And that the corresponding sides are proportional. Sides are proportional. And remember that proportional means that you have equal fractions, okay? So you have equal fractions, all right? And that's what proportional means. So let's look at an example of some similar figures. Okay, so if I'm given an example like this, and I'm going to call this rectangle here my pre-image, okay? And then I'm going to call this one over here my image, all right? And if I wanted to find the scale factor, I want to think about what corresponds with what, all right? So this length here, AD, which is a length of 2, corresponds to the length of EH, okay? This is my small length on this figure, and that's going to correspond with the small length over here on this figure. Okay, so I can do this two different ways. Remember that in the last video, we said that if you take the length of your image and divide it by the length on your pre-image, that will give you your scale factor n. And that's what we're trying to do, okay? We're trying to calculate the scale factor to go from one to the next, all right? So what you can do is you can take the length from your image, and we'll use 6, all right? And we'll divide it by the corresponding length over here, which is 2, all right? And that's going to give you a value of 3, okay? This is your scale factor. So n is equal to 3. Now, I could also use the other length. I could take 15 and divide it by the long length over here, which is 5, and get the same thing of 3, okay? And so, you just verify that your scale factor is 3. All right, now another way that you could do this is you could set up an equation that says 2 times some number gives you 6, all right? Solve for that number, and that's going to give you a value of 3 as well, all right? You could do the same thing and say 5 times some number gives you 15. What's that number? Divide both sides by 5, and you get that n is equal to 3 again as well. Now, in a rectangle, okay, I know that all my angle measures are 90 degrees, all right? So all these angle measures are 90 degrees in this figure. They're going to be the same thing over here, all right? My angle measures in this figure are going to be 90 degrees. So the only thing that changes here are your side lengths, okay? And we're just trying to determine what the scale factor is. What do I have to multiply these sides by to get this? All right, so given this figure, what I want to do is calculate the scale factor, okay? And you're given your pre-image and your image length, okay? So, but when I do this, I have to use the graph to figure out the side lengths, okay? Now, over here, I figure out that the length from A to B is a length of 3, and all I'm doing is counting the spaces in between. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's a length of 3. From B to C, that's a length of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. The next thing I do is I'm going to find the corresponding side lengths over here. So from A prime to B prime, that's simply just a length of 1. And then the length from B prime to C prime is a length of 2. All right, so if I wanted to calculate my scale factor, what I want to do is use these side lengths to figure that out. So I would set up an equation, the length of AB, I multiply that by my scale factor n, and that's going to give me the length of A prime, B prime. All right, so if I do AB, that's a length of 3, multiply it by my scale factor n, and that's going to give me the length from A prime to B prime, which is 1, okay? I'm going to divide both sides by 3 to solve this equation for n, and I get a length of 1, or a scale factor of 1/3. Okay, now I could do the same thing using segment lengths of BC. So I could say BC times my scale factor n gives me B prime C prime. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to replace BC with 6, multiply it by my scale factor n, and I get B prime C prime, which is 2. I can divide both sides by 6, and I get that n is equal to 2 6. Well, I can simplify this by dividing each of the numerator and denominator by 2, and that's going to end up giving me a scale factor of 1/3. All right, so it doesn't matter which way I do that as long as I find the scale factor. Okay, on this example, what I want to do is I want to actually dilate this figure on my graph, okay? And we have this rule here that we're going to dilate about the origin, here's my origin, with a scale factor of 2 for x, y, okay? So what I want to do is label my points, okay? So I'm going to label point A, I'm going to label point B, and I'm going to label point C, okay? Point A is the point 1, 2. Point B is the point 3, 1, and point C is the point 1, -1, okay? And what I want to do is I want to transform this so that I get my point for A prime, for B prime, and C prime, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of my points here, my xy points, and multiply them by 2, okay? So to get A prime, what I want to do is I'm going to take 1 and multiply it by 2, okay? I'm going to take the y value of 2, and I'm going to multiply it by 2, okay? And that's going to give me my point for A prime. For point B prime, I'm going to take my value of 3, my x value, multiply that by 2, and then I'm going to take my y value, which is 1, and multiply that by 2, okay? And that's going to give me my point for B prime. For C and C prime, I'm going to take my value of x, which is 1, and I'm going to multiply it by my scale factor of 2. I'm going to take my y value of -1 and multiply it by my scale factor of 2. All right, so as I do the math over here, all this is going to give me is it's going to give me that A prime, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, okay? To get B prime, 3 times 2 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2. To get C prime, 1 times 2 is 2, -1 times 2 is -2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these points here that I just got and I'm going to plot them on my graph. All right, and what that's going to do, let's find the point 2, 4. So 2, 4 is here. Okay, that's going to be A prime. B prime is the point 6, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 is B prime. And then C prime is 2, -2. Now, when I connect those, all I have is I have a triangle that is similar to what I had originally. All right, the sides are proportional by a scale factor of 2, and all my angles are going to be preserved. Okay, and that's all I got for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you soon. Bye.